he would wake up some new devotee in the middle of the night. It's like, wake up. And he would say, what is going on? And Jayananda said, I brought you nice, simply wonderful something, samosa or halava. Come in and let's take prasadam in the middle of the night. Okay, so let's go. You can play the gong or something. You can take Ram Lakshman, the kartals. Yeah, Maxim. Bhagavan ki, Bhakta Prahlad Maharaj ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Hari 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 Bol. Namo Mishta Paraya Krishna Vistaya Bhutri Shmad Bhakti Vedanta Samani Namani Namaste Saraswati Gauravani Vrajari Nandi Vishesha Shunavari Bhashcharta Krishna. Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Satarasata Shishimad, His Divine Grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupat Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Asatarasata Shishimad, His Divine Grace. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Kori Vaishnavan Ki Jai. Namacharya Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sako Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Ravari Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Gangamai Ki Jai. Yamunamai Ki Jai. Turustevi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Krantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Hari 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 Bol. Oh glories to the Assembly devotees. Hare Krishna. Oh glories to the Assembly devotees. Hare Krishna. Oh glories to the Assembly devotees. Hare Krishna. Oh glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Oh glories to Srila Prabhupada. Most Praya Krishna Vistaya Bhutri Shmada Bhaktivedanta Samani Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Guruvani Vracharina Nirvishesha Shrunavari Bhachartadishtarine. Hare Krishna everybody. So today is the auspicious day, the disappearance day of Jayananda Dasa Thakur. He's a disciple of Srila Prabhupada who left early, and he did so much service, so much preaching, a wonderful example to follow. So, Hare Krishna. Edin Cherimovic. Can anyone read the TikTok? Shamdai Mataji, Hare Krishna. Narasingh Rao. Doris came to hear Jayananda Leela Katha. She's a great devotee of Jayananda. Yvonne, Hare Krishna. Yvonne, nice to see you. Sachin. So, anybody on TikTok?
Yeah, I'm just...
Manish. So many. Oh, wow. Ayan Ali, Hare Krishna. So, anybody wants to say Hare Krishna on TikTok? Yes? No?
Neil Whittaker.
Neil Whittaker. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Sakura Dubs. Sakura Dubs official.
Sakura?
Sakura Dubs.
Sakura Dubs. Hare Krishna Sakura Dubs. That's it? Lena. Hare Krishna Lena.
Stacy is also there.
Stacy. Yes. Regular. Very good Stacy. Gabriel. Gabriel Godasa. Hare Krishna. You have such a name that it makes me commit Vaishnava aparat. Yes, Jayananda Thakur. Yeah, Jayananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Okay, so I have a few quotes here, and as I promised, I'm going to tell you a story, pastime of Jayananda Thakur, that involves jail and prasadam. First of all, okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Those of you who have been following the Srimad Bhagavatam classes, we're just discussing in the morning how dear are the devotees to Krishna. How very, very dear. Even Krishna appreciates, today we were reading that Krishna appreciates when we feed devotees more than if we offer sacrificial oblations to the sacrificial fire, because that is considered to be the mouth of Krishna. So Krishna is very fond of his devotees, and especially pure devotees. So Srila Prabhupada, he confirmed that Jayananda Prabhu, he achieved the highest perfection of life. He became a pure devotee by strictly following the orders of Srila Prabhupada. So it's very nice because we have an example that it is actually possible to become a pure devotee in the personality of Jayananda Prabhu. So we should hear very, very attentively about his activities, about his personality, so we can ultimately follow in his footsteps. Okay, so now the first quote is from Jayananda Prabhu's Bhagavad Gita class. And there's one class recorded of Jayananda. His voice is recorded. You can find it on YouTube. So this is a short quote from that class. Jayananda Prabhu says, "So, therefore, we can have faith that Krishna will always protect us in any kind of situation." That's the potency of devotional service. That it's transcendental to the bodily concept of life, even up to the point of death. Devotional service is more powerful because devotional service can even attract Krishna. That's the strength of devotional service. The devotion can attract Krishna. So, if that devotion, even Krishna says, it's not so much the service that's there, but it's the attitude of the devotee, the sincere desire for Krishna's association. Sincere desire for Krishna's association. In that way, Krishna will protect us. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that for one who does good, he is never overcome by evil. Okay? So that's the Jayananda's class. Now, I will read a few conversations where Srila Prabhupada mentions Jayananda. Hare Krishna. Jackie Ann McFarland, I think you came from TikTok. Yes, very nice. Thank you for joining us on Facebook as well. Reporter, where did the money come from to print such lavish editions of your books? This is a conversation with news reporters in Delhi, 1976. Prabhupada, the money comes, we're selling books daily. Reporter, no, but initially you do require, Prabhupada, Reporter, initially it requires some money to print such a lavish book. Prabhupada, initially I took some books from here. They're not so nicely printed, but still I sold them. Then gradually increased. They paid the money and then they made contributions. One of my students, Jayananda, he has first paid me $5,000. Then Brahmananda paid me $5,000. In this way, gradually money came. So Jayananda, he sponsored the printing of the Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. That was the first book Srila Prabhupada printed in the Western countries. So it was due to Jayananda. There is a hint there. If you sponsor printing of Prabhupada's books, you may go back home, back to Godhead simply. This is the most valuable service, to print and to distribute these books. Next, Prabhupada. He's again remembering the early days. Our Jayananda was driving taxi and chanting Hare Krishna. And one day, Prabhupada laughs, he brought to me $5,000. Rameshwara, that's another devotee. And he used it to print teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Prabhupada, Rameshwara, was that the time? Prabhupada, I think yes. Tamal, you kept it then. Prabhupada, it was given for publishing Bhagavad Gita, but I think Macmillan took it, so I spent it for Tamal. Then you put him in charge to sell the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, I remember. Prabhupada laughs. Jayananda. Didn't sell too many books though. Tamal. I thought he was the best, most appropriate person to drive you. Prabhupada. He was chanting and driving. Very good boy. So this is from New York, 1976. Jayananda, he organized this Ratha Yatra in New York for the first time, because New York is very difficult to organize anything. It's so crowded, so much competition. So somehow or other, they have secured a permission, and you may know that the American president is also involved in this particular Leela, because Mr. Trump allowed the devotees to use some of his property so they could assemble the cart for Lord Jagannath. And for that, he gets the credit. You can say you might not like Trump, but he has done this great service to Krishna, and that is a tremendous Sukriti. So how it is all connecting? Jayananda Prabhu, that was his final festival. At that point, he was suffering tremendously. He had these big lumps, from the disease, leukemia. And he didn't sleep for 3 days. So 3 days continuously, he was working on the carts, preparing the festival. And you can see it actually also, if you do a little search on YouTube, that Ratha Yatra is captured on a camera. It's so ecstatic, so wonderful. And Srila Prabhupada, he loved it. Srila Prabhupada loved it so much. It was monumental through the, what is that? That big street, Times Square? No. Some of these big avenues. They were pulling the cart, and so many people joined. And there's actually an interview we're going to read a little bit later that the devotees have done at the occasion of that Ratha Yatra festival. There was theater, there was kirtan, there was prasadam everywhere, big Ratha Yatra, big carts. There were fanatical Christians trying to disrupt also. So, and Jayananda was in charge of this. So he was dancing continuously, and that is also that there's a particular coat Jayananda was wearing, and he was dancing in that coat, although he was in a very advanced stage of the disease. They have captured that photograph and they put it on his samadhi. Later on they made a samadhi in Vrindavan, thanks to this devotee, Vishoka Prabhu. His wife is Prita Devi Dasi, and she's a great fan of Bliss. I'm in correspondence with her. She really likes what we're doing. So, so that was Jayananda. He was driving Prabhupada here. This is July the 9th. Prabhupada just came to New York to take part in this celebration. So Jayananda was driving him, and Prabhupada is remembering that just like in the early days, you were also driving me. Jayananda wasn't a full-time devotee. He was a taxi driver. Just like we also have many devotees who are not preachers full-time, but they work and they give money to the Bliss temple. You see? So you don't have to be a full-time devotee to go back home, back to Godhead. As Jayananda Prabhu says, it's the attitude. The sincere attitude to have Krishna's association. So Jayananda, he was driving taxi. The whole day, he was driving a taxi, and whatever money he got, he gave everything, 100% he gave to the temple. And he slept in the temple. And Prabhupada would personally, when Jayananda came back from his whole day work, late at night, Prabhupada was waiting for him, and Prabhupada would personally serve him halava. Imagine, Srila Prabhupada himself. Srila Prabhupada, the Shakti Vaishavatar, is serving Jayananda. Amazing. So, here's another conversation. Tamal. Jayananda looks exhausted. Prabhupada, Tamal, he's worked so, Rameshwara, staying up all nights working. Adi Keshava. For 5 days he hasn't gone to sleep. 5 days. Sorry, I made a mistake. Tamal, 5 days and nights he's worked continuously. Prabhupada, Jai. So here is a letter to Jayananda from the early days, from 1967. Jayananda joined very early in San Francisco, and he wasn't a hippie like the others. He was a little older, and he had a diploma. He was an engineer, mechanical engineering, something like that. He had a diploma, but he was never working as an engineer. He didn't like that work satisfactory. So he would work some odd jobs, and he would take LSD, and like he would be on a search, and even he was, I think, on the verge of suicide, that he didn't know what to do with life, until he met Srila Prabhupada, and he became so convinced when he saw Prabhupada on the first sight. He said, this person, I'm going to surrender to him fully. This person is worthy of my surrender. So sometimes it happens like that we're getting disappointed in the material world just because we want to surrender fully to Krishna 100%, and we're just getting disappointed because we fully surrender to nonsense people, conditioned souls, exploiters. And that can bring you to the point of being so disappointed with the world that you want to commit suicide. So we must preach Krishna consciousness to connect such Jayanandas, potential Jayanandas, with Srila Prabhupada. Okay, so let's see how Prabhupada is writing to Jayananda, 1967. My dear Jayananda, please accept my blessings. I am so glad to receive your letter of August 30th. And I know also that you are a sincere devotee of Lord Krishna. When you drive your car, you always chant Hare Krishna. And when I was by your side, I could understand how heartily you have accepted the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Heartily. Krishna is very kind to all, but he is especially kind to his sincere devotees. Sincere devotee. Krishna is always with us, within our hearts. Everything okay?
Just checking if it's plugged in. It's not working.
It's still working, but
Yeah.
it doesn't die.
Yeah, why? Yeah, plug it in. Krishna is always with us, within our hearts, and he's always ready to give us direction. But because everyone is independent, Krishna responds cooperatively. Anyone who voluntarily cooperates with Krishna's desire, he responds to his call very eagerly. Krishna descends to teach us Bhagavad Gita, begging our cooperation, and anyone who cooperates with him becomes blessed. You are sincerely cooperating with Krishna, and therefore you all boys and girls in San Francisco working together harmoniously. Harmony means Krishna consciousness. Anna, Hare Krishna Anna. We're discussing Jayananda Thakur's pastimes. Without Krishna consciousness, there cannot be harmony in the world. I have received the report of successful performance of Janmashtami ceremony. I'm glad to learn that you're willing to come to India for further study. I received no letter from Dayananda or his wife Nandarani. I'm anxious to receive the report of the Los Angeles Center. I do not know their address. Your acknowledgement, Krishna has been very merciful to me, is remarkable. You are realizing the fruit of chanting. So far my health is concerned, I am improving by Krishna's grace, and it is due to your feeling of my absence and eagerly awaiting for my return. Please go on cooperating between your godbrothers. I'm always with you, never mind if I am physically absent. Please convey my blessings to all the boys and girls and tell them that I'm very eager to return. This is from the time when Srila Prabhupada, he had a transcendental stroke. So he had to come back at the very beginning of the movement. In 1967, he had to return to India to recuperate his health. So then Prabhupada came at the end of 67, December. And then, while Prabhupada was absent, the devotees, expanded quite nicely. And then Prabhupada joined them and pushed the movement in very grand scale. From 68 to 1970 was the greatest boom of the movement, and later on also. So this is from the time Prabhupada was recovering in India. Here's another letter from 67. My dear Jayananda, please accept my blessings. I beg to thank you for your letter, undated. I congratulate you on your being elected as president of ISKCON San Francisco branch. Your election as president is a recognition by Krishna, and therefore I have full support for you. Mukunda and other members have rightly selected you as president. Your service attitude for Krishna and your sincere attempts at being advanced in Krishna consciousness will work with you and make your life more and more glorious and happy states. I've been very glad that you are appreciating by yourself the effects of the sincere Krishna consciousness. Again, the word sincere is used. I have nothing new to instruct you. The same old instruction, namely constant chanting and attentively hearing the transcendental vibration Hare Krishna, is the only process for realization in this age. Prabhupada gives a hint here. The only process. We have heard this many times. Hare Nama eva kevalam kalo nasti eva nasti eva nasti eva gatiranyata. What does it mean? Abhishek, you know, right? Are you there? What does it mean? Hare Nama, what does it mean? Eva kevalam, what is that? Do you know? Eva kevalam. Kalo nasti, eva nasti, eva nasti, eva gatiranyata. Brihad Naradiya, this is what Lord Chaitanya is preaching. This is his main teaching. In this age of Kali, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh fighting, this is the only way. Chant Hare Krishna, Hare Nama, the holy name of God. No meditation, kick out. Yagyas, kick out. Deity worship, kick out. Of course, we can also do deity worship, but it is not the Yuga Dharma. The Yuga Dharma is this Harinama Sankirtan. Go out and chant. If you don't do it, you're not part of Lord Chaitanya's movement. If you don't chant Hare Krishna, you're licking the outside of the bottle of honey. But here Prabhupada is making it more specific what it means. What is that only way, the only way, the only way? He elaborates. Constant chanting, every day, regularly, and attentively hearing also the transcendental vibration. When you chant your japa, you should not just chant, but you should also hear the vibration. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Here's the hint. You want to become a pure devotee. Prabhupada is giving here all the secrets. Take it. Continuation. In San Francisco, while you were driving your car, and I was sitting by you hearing your transcendental vibration, this very sincere attempt has enriched your consciousness, and my only instruction is that you may constantly do this habit without fail. Regarding your dispute in your mind as to remaining a brahmachari, grihastha, or becoming sannyasi, there is nothing to be bothered with. Anyone who is in full Krishna consciousness and is dedicating his life for Krishna is already a sannyasi, even if he is a married man. For those who are attached to these designations, Prabhupada is saying this. It's sannyasi, even a married man. He's a sannyasi, Dhananjaya, or Nityananda, or Maitreya. They're all sannyasis. Because, full Krishna consciousness and dedicating the life for Krishna. Our Vaishnava philosophy, oh sorry, I skipped one. If you like, you can become a householder, and I have no objection to that. Prabhupada never had any objection. If you want to live married life, no problem. Prabhupada would always encourage. Our Vaishnava philosophy instructs to become Vidvati sannyasis. This means a man who knows things as they are. Therefore, a devotee who knows that everything belongs to Krishna and that he is the proprietor of all such a devotee is certainly a Vidvati sannyasi. Our philosophy is that we should accept things as prasadam of Krishna and nothing for sense enjoyment. Anyone who accepts things for sense enjoyment, even if he is externally a saffron-dressed man, is not a sannyasi. Devi Shakti, maybe you can tag Prita Devi Dasi? Okay, good. The Mayavadi sannyasi considers himself as God. This concept of life develops under illusion. When a person fails to become the Lord of the universe, it is like the sly fox who attempts to taste grapes and failing to do so says, the grapes are sour. The Mayavadi sannyasis are frustrated beings in their attempt to enjoy the world. Therefore they say the world is fake, or the grapes are sour, the world is not false. Krishna is the supreme truth and the world is his energy. Therefore the energy of the supreme truth cannot be false. But we must know that this energy is inferior to his spiritual energy. As there are hairs and nails on the body, and sometimes we separate these parts from the body, similarly, when the material energy is separated from the service of the Lord, it is inferior energy. Inferior energy is not false, but temporary. The same temporary energy, when surcharged with Krishna consciousness, it transforms into supreme energy by the supreme will. By this will, any energy can be transformed into another, just like electronic energy in a refrigerator or in a heater. To an ordinary layman, he sees cold and hot, but to an electrician, he sees electricity. So when one is engaged in the service of the Lord, that person is already in the spiritual energy, and a sannyasi, and the real purpose of sannyasi is to transform himself from the inferior to the superior spiritual energy. If your consciousness is absorbed in Krishna, you are always a sannyasi. Okay, so a little clarification on what is sannyas. Now let's go further. 1975. My dear Jayananda Das, please accept my blessings. I am in due receipt of your letter dated August 11, 1975, and have noted the contents. What you have done is good. Why should you remarry? Jayananda Prabhu, he married one Mataji, and then somehow the marriage didn't work out. I think the wife left or something. So Jayananda decided to go back to brahmachari. Rather, you should take sannyas. Now you're getting very good training. Why has Jayatirtha suggested you to remarry? In Delhi, there is a kind of a laddu which has such a taste that anyone who has tasted it once, he laments, oh, how I would like to taste again. And anyone who has never tasted, he also laments, oh, I have never tasted. So one who has tasted and one who has not tasted, both are lamenting. Wife is like that. You already tasted, now you're lamenting. But my advice to you is not to try to taste again. Otherwise your lamentation will increase. You have got no children, so you are free. So take sannyas. Sex life is nasty, but out of illusion we think it is nice. Now you are experienced, so don't take sex life again. You should not take sannyas out of sentiment, nor artificially, but it is better to accept it anyway. Amazing. Okay, so now we move to 1977. This is where Jayananda Prabhu was already deceased. Of course, He is never diseased. Pure devotee is never diseased. His body becomes spiritualized. Just like Prabhupada was explaining, the principle of sannyas is to transform the material energy into spiritual energy. So here, Prabhupada writes, My dear Jayananda, please accept my blessings. I beg to acknowledge receipt of your letter dated February the 21st, 1977, and I thank you for the check as well as the nice sentiments you have expressed. In the beginning, you also gave me 5,000, and now again you have sent. So just a little note here. Jayananda, he collected $5,000 from his family members for the treatment. He was supposed to go to Mexico for some special treatment. But because he saw that the situation is kind of desperate or hopeless, he decided to use that money and he gave it to Srila Prabhupada. This body is today or tomorrow finished. We should not be very much bothered about the body. Trees also live for thousands of years, but that does not mean a successful life. A successful life is one of Krishna consciousness. By the grace of Krishna, from the very beginning, you are a devotee, and that is the real profit of your life. I thank you for your check, but I would prefer that you may require the money for your treatment. See, so this is Prabhupada. Prabhupada, another Vaishnava. Vaishnava dealings. He gives his savings that he's supposed to save his life with this money. He gives it to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada, he wants to give it back to him. These are Vaishnava dealings. Competition in humility. So if you like, I can return it. But I hear that you have some income. I pray to Krishna for your more advanced Krishna conscious life. About a sadhu it is said, Jiva va marava. A sadhu may live or die, it doesn't matter. While living, he is engaged in Krishna conscious business, and when dying, he goes back home, back to Godhead, hoping this finds you improving in your health. So, Jayananda, he departed. It was on Lord Nrsingadev appearance day, and they played Prabhupada's bhajan on a speaker. He had this speaker, Prabhupada. So Jayananda Prabhu, he hugged the speaker, and he departed exactly when the conch shell blew for Mangala Arati, just like we have also in our temple in the morning, 4:30, Pujari or Pujarini, they blew the conch shell. So he departed exactly at that time. Now Prabhupada, he writes him a letter. Although he is departed, Prabhupada writes a letter, and this was printed in the BTG magazine. My dear Jayananda, please accept my blessings. I am feeling very intensely your separation. In 1967, you joined me in San Francisco. You were driving my car and chanting Hare Krishna. You were the first man to give me some contribution, $5,000, for printing my Bhagavad Gita. After that, you have rendered very favorable service to Krishna in different ways. So I so hope at the time of your death, you were remembering Krishna, and as such, you have been promoted to the eternal association of Krishna. If not, if you had any tinge of material desire, you have gone to the celestial kingdom to live with the demigods for many thousands of years and enjoyed the most opulent life of material existence. So even if you do not become a pure devotee, if you dedicate your life to Krishna's service, you go to the heavenly planets and you enjoy with the demigods for many thousands of years and enjoy the most opulent life of material existence. This is for you. From there you can promote yourself to the spiritual world. So that's also one way how to go to the spiritual world, gradually. Now Prabhupada says, but even if one fails to promote himself to the spiritual world, at that time he comes down again on the surface of this globe and takes birth in a big family like a yogis or brahmanas or an aristocratic family, where there is again chance of reviving Krishna consciousness. But as you were hearing Krishna Kirtan, I am sure that you were directly promoted to Krishna Loka. Jai. Janma karma chame divyam evam yovati tatvata tyaktva deyam puna janmanaiti mamiti suarjuna. This shloka, anybody knows? Translation?
One who remember my pastimes and my appearance.
Not remember, but one who understands. Yeah, how they're transcendental. He will never come back to this
One
material.
that doesn't take his birth in the material world.
Ever again, ever again.
Instead he reaches the abode of Krishna.
Yes, exactly. Krishna has done a great favor to you not to continue your diseased body and has given you a suitable place for your service. Thank you very much. Now Prabhupada writes to Rameshwara, Jayananda's death is glorious. It is very good that he had stated, what is the use of such a useless body? Better to give it up. We're trying to drag on to this body, doing fitness and health and so many things. Jayananda said, what is the use of this useless body? Let me give it up. He has left his body very wonderfully and he has been transferred to Vaikuntha. I have already sent a condolence letter for publication in Back to Godhead. Everyone should follow the example of Jayananda. This is the order of Srila Prabhupada. Everyone should follow the example of Jayananda. I am very proud that I had such a nice disciple. Prabhupada says this about you. I'm very proud to have such a disciple as Maxim. I'm very proud to have such a disciple as Ram Lakshman Prabhu. That is your success of life. If possible, that is not so easy, not so cheap. If possible, Jayananda's picture should be hung in the Ratha of Lord Jagannath, and in all of our temples a day may be set aside for holding a festival in his honor, just as we do on the disappearance day of the other great Vaishnavas. So that's what we're doing today. So now the final is the interview with Jayananda Prabhu. There's only so much we can talk about him. So of course it's very difficult to describe his personality in full, but this interview will give you a little bit idea about what he says. It's the BTG, Back to Godhead magazine, interviewing Jayananda. BTG, Jayananda, how did you first get involved in Krishna consciousness? Jayananda, I heard Srila Prabhupada speaking in San Francisco and somehow I knew he didn't want to cheat me. So I just wanted to work for him. BTG, and now for 10 years you have worked on the Ratha Yatra carts. Jayananda, yes. BTG, what were the first Ratha Yatras like? Jayananda, the first year, 1967, we just rented a flatbed truck and started out in the Haight-Ashbury district of San Francisco. We decorated the truck with flowers and put the deities on the back. And the girls passed out fruit. A good crowd walked along with us at the beginning, and when we turned off Haight Street, and a smaller group of maybe 50 people came with us, and we went all the way to the beach. The second year we made our own cart with saffron silk canopies, small ones, and we had the parade through Golden Gate Park to the beach. By that time the San Francisco temple had grown a little. We had maybe 30 devotees, and about 100 people came with us through the park. The chanting was very nice that year. Then in 1969 we built a much bigger cart with a tall silk canopy like the ones they built in Jagannath Puri in India. But in 1970 we worked for 2 months straight and built the 3 big carts, basically the same ones we use now. Also we had all kinds of publicity, TV, billboards, posters, and Srila Prabhupada came to that Ratha Yatra. So a lot of people came, maybe 12,000 people. It was big, a tremendous success. This is another advantage of these Ratha Yatra festivals, that you can attract masses, big crowds of people. We had a few mishaps though. One cart broke down in the middle of the parade, and it was a bitter cold day. But even though it was so cold at the beach, thousands of people stayed there with us and ate a lot of Krishna prasad. We brought 20 50-gallon barrels of prasad, and they ate it all. Later that year, the auditorium we used at the beach was torn down. So in 1971, we decided to end the parade in the park at Lindley Meadow. That year, and in 1972 and 1973, the parade was a little smaller than in 1970. In 1974, Bhaktadas came to San Francisco to be temple president, and he decided to expand the Ratha Yatra. He spent more money on it than before, and maybe 20,000 people attended that year. The police remarked that we were the only group that could get such a large gathering together without creating a problem for them. Srila Prabhupada came that year and gave a speech at the meadow. He was sitting beneath the Jagannath deities on their opulent, three-tiered stage. Even without such understanding, everyone could appreciate that there was a majestic, awe-inspiring celebration. Another wonderful thing we started that year was the fairground type booths at the meadow. You could see the unlimited scope of the Vedic culture. We had a deity workshop booth, a transcendental art booth, a literature booth, and of course many booths selling food. Now that's become a regular feature of the festival. In 1975, I tried out making steel wheels, but the chariots were so heavy they flattened the steel and made the ride very bumpy for the deities. So now we're back to the standard wooden wheels. If you want to make a Ratha Yatra festival, here's a tip from Jayananda: don't make a steel wheels. BTG, what instruction has Srila Prabhupada given you about Ratha Yatra? Jayananda: I never got much personal instruction. He just told me to make everything strong. I'm not a real visionary about it. I just build the carts. Which Ratha Yatra do you think has been the best so far? Jayananda: in New York last year, that was the most festive. That's the one I was telling you that Mr. Trump helped to organize also. Not until then had I experienced so many of the transcendental qualities of Ratha Yatra. You know, for a parade, there is nothing like Fifth Avenue. That was the street, Fifth Avenue. It's the most important street in the world. And when we went to Washington Square Park to pull the carts home, hours after the parade had finished, thousands of people were still there chanting. They were everywhere. People were coming out of their apartments and coming out of bars shouting, Hare Krishna. Only in New York could you get such a response. BTG, tell us from your own experience what the public gets out of Ratha Yatra. Jayananda: the impact is so powerful that everyone's affected. In New York, there were thousands of people out on the streets and they were astounded. It's not that I'm claiming it. The people were interviewed on TV and that's what they said. Also, I remember one man with his girlfriend, she didn't like us at all, who told me sometime after the festival that when he saw the carts coming down the street, he felt like a parade had just come down from heaven, and that he often remembers the carts and the chanting with pleasure. So people are hit by it. It's so far beyond their usual experience. You can't measure the impact. All year long, they do more or less the same things. Maybe they catch a few parades like the Thanksgiving Day parade. They stand and watch some big balloons go by, but it's all the same. Then, when you have a whole troop of devotees singing and dancing around these lofty transcendental chariots, then the people are transformed. They used to be mundane creatures, but when they see the Ratha Yatra, they're angels. It brings out the best in people to see Lord Jagannath smiling at them. I tell you, at first, their faces looked like they hadn't changed in 25 years. And then all of a sudden it was like glass cracking, and you would see the whole face transformed just by a few moments association. And I want to speak of those who take part. Ratha Yatra encourages everybody to take part. Come on, walk with us, dance, grab a robe and pull. We don't say don't touch. No, join in, have fun. By our nature, we all want to participate. Nobody wants to be a bystander. And those who take part are purified of all their sinful karmic reactions just by chanting Hare Krishna and seeing Lord Jagannath. BTG, are there people who regard it as idol worship? Jayananda, yes. They may feel that before, but the impact of the festival is so strong that after it, they feel otherwise. They see Lord Jagannath and they see how merciful he is, and they can feel that it's not idol worship. And if they read Srila Prabhupada's books, then they will understand logically how Lord Jagannath is not an idol. Of course, at the festival, there are always a few fault finders. Last year in New York, one of them had a bullhorn and was shouting, so one of our men poured water down it, and that stopped him. BTG, what is your understanding of the purpose of Ratha Yatra? Jayananda, to celebrate the pastimes of Krishna. Krishna is so kind. He comes to earth and displays so many wonderful pastimes. Ratha Yatra celebrates his going to Kurukshetra with Balaram and Subhadra and his meeting there with the residents of Vrindavan, where he was born. The expressions of love shared between the Lord and his devotees make that one of the sweetest pastimes. Ratha Yatra offers a chance for so many people to be engaged in Krishna consciousness. People don't come to our temples much, but millions are out on the streets. Now here's a chance for them to advance in spiritual life. Here comes Lord Jagannath's festival. They're touched. They become part of the transcendental vibration, and they're purified. Also for the devotees, it's very beneficial. Maybe more for me. Ratha Yatra is the service that's given so many of my realizations, the flowering of whatever Krishna consciousness I have. It's not a long-term occupation. It happens all at once, like a big explosion in the summer. It brings together so many devotees all working together under the spiritual master with one plan. And all the transcendental paraphernalia is there. The deities, the prasad, the chanting, the booths, the theater. It's such a surcharged atmosphere. You never forget it. For a devotee to be able to participate in Ratha Yatra is very good for his Krishna consciousness. When you have these festivals, it gives you big, powerful event to look forward to and to work towards. It helps your devotion. BTG, how about the future growth of Ratha Yatra? Jayananda, one thing that's important is that all the temples should celebrate this wonderful festival. But it is impractical for each center to construct 3 carts. So now in Los Angeles, we're putting together a traveling party that can go from city to city with displays and carts that you can assemble and take apart. Then the great expense will be eliminated. Also, we'll have year-round Ratha Yatras, the south in the winter, the north in the summer. It can be expanded so people will be hearing about Ratha Yatra all year round, and that will be the perfection of their lives. BTG, it sounds wonderful. Thank you very much, Jayananda. Jayananda, thank you. Hare Krishna. So, this is amazing. Now, I will tell you the story, as I promised. Jayananda was also very, very fond of prasadam. He would always serve devotees prasadam. That's why I also asked Maitreya to make prasadam. When he was going to get vegetables for Krishna, he would talk to the shop owners. He would always carry a plastic bag full of prasadam, and he would always be giving everyone prasadam. Always, whenever he would go out, he would carry the bag of prasadam. When he would go to the shop or for a walk or japa walk, always prasadam with him and always distributing. Amazing. So one time devotees, they were invited to go to the prison to make a program for the prisoners, for the criminals. So the devotees, they made lots of Simply Wonderfuls. You know Simply Wonderfuls? These sweets. So yeah, they made, I don't know, hundreds of Simply Wonderfuls for the prisoners. So as they're driving, Jayananda is driving, Jayananda says that, listen up, Prabhu, can I have one of these Simply Wonderfuls? Just give me one. I can't resist, you know. Come on, give me just one. It's not going to be any problem. So the devotee he gave, and he said, you can also give to other devotees. So everybody took Simply Wonderful. And they're driving, to the jail. And again, Jayananda says, Prabhu, give me another one. So again, everybody took Simply Wonderful. Then again, they took. Ultimately, when they came to the jail, they had nothing. No prasadam to distribute. So, Jayananda said, oh, let's see, Krishna will arrange. Somehow Krishna will figure it out. So when they entered the jail, there was this police, the guard, and he said, guys, you don't carry any food by any chance? And they said, no, sorry, no food. Because, I couldn't let you in. There's no food allowed in jail. So they went inside, they were doing kirtan or something. All right, any questions?
Any questions from laughers?
We're also on YouTube, by the way. There might be people asking questions on YouTube. Orange 712 is watching on YouTube. Hare Krishna, Prabhu, or Mataji, whoever you are. TikTok? I see somebody writing. Some glorification of Jayananda. Constant, yeah?
Oh, nothing is it.
Okay. Constant chanting and attentive hearing of the transcendental vibration is the only way how to make advancement in Kali Yuga. Powerful.
Can I ask a question?
Yes?
What does it mean? Could you elaborate on constant chanting?
Constant chanting means always chant Hare Krishna. Kirtanya Sadhari. Don't skip your 16 rounds. Don't skip the Harinam. Don't skip the Kirtan. These are all. It should go on constantly, but if you cannot do constantly, at least you should chant at the regulated times. Ayan Ali says, such a blissful day hearing these letters and interviews and glorification of such a sincere devotee. Jai. Hare Krishna. I'm happy that you relished this this reading. There are a few books, I think 1 or 2 books on Jayananda. One of them is called Jayananda Thakur. Yeah, I think you can read it on Vedabase. It's compiled by a devotee called Vishoka Prabhu. He departed recently, but he was very dedicated to preserve the memory of Jayananda. Doris says, Jayananda Thakur is an example we should all follow. Thank you very much. Ekanata Mataji, how are you? You were also hearing? Nice. Thank you. Alright, so let's pray to Jayananda. He can bestow his blessings so we can become Pakka disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Jayananda Thakur ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nithai Gaura Premanandi. Namo Mishta Pranaya Krishna Vastaya Bhurtari Shrimad Bhakti Vedanta Samadhi Namadi Namaste Saraswati Gaura Vari Vrachari Ne Nirvishesha Shona Vari Bhashartari Shtari.